Hi, this is Kathleen from Bailey Academy, mom of five, homeschooling three of them, ages 9, 12, and almost 16. Today I'm participating in a collaboration with Nikki from Blessed Homeschool Mess. We're talking about history curriculum picks. Mine will be a little bit different because I don't buy a history curriculum, I make my own. And also, we don't start school until September, so we still have 3 months, 2.5 months of school. So I haven't done more than just preliminary planning about history, but I did want to participate and share what we're planning for history and also be able to see what everybody else is doing for history. So when you're done watching my video, if you want to see more history curriculum picks, look in the description for the link to the playlist and also to Nikki's channel, Blessed Homeschool Mess. Check her out, but especially check out the playlist so you can see everybody else's videos and see what different families are using, because there's different families with different age children and using different curriculums. So there'll be lots of things to choose from to find out what you might want to use. So let's get started. I see every other homeschool YouTuber talking about, here's my coffee, here's my tea. Well, I have Ice Cat from Tim Hortons. That's my drink of choice. Okay, I'm ready. So first of all, I should explain something. I know from watching lots of other homeschool YouTubers and reading blogs that most of you, or at least a lot of you, do history and science, and then like some of you don't do geography, or some of you would consider it part of it. I don't know. My kids started off in school for the most part. So here in Canada, or at least in my part of Canada, they don't learn history until grade 7. They do social studies, which of course has history in it, but I mean, they don't do dedicated just history, geography until grade 7, 8. And in grade school, before that, they do social studies, which does, like I said, talk about history too, but is more general. I don't know, it's not very in depth. So my kids have not had much history knowledge. And so now that my children will be, they're rising grade 4 and rising grade 7, rising grade 11 in high school in school for next year. So I want to make sure that I do include lots of history. However, I teach the grade 4 and grade 7 together next year. Well, and I did this year too, but they'll be grade 4, grade 7 next year. I'm teaching them together. So they're all both going to get history. And then I'll teach, for example, I know my grade 7 did ancient history before he started homeschooling. So we'll do ancient history with the youngest one when the middle one is in high school and doing other things. So what I did was I made a list of different types of history that I wanted to cover. Ones that they've mentioned they would like to learn more about, ones that I think is important to learn about, a little bit about stuff they would learn in their grade, but mostly just not worried about what the curriculum says anymore. I'm over that. And then we're just going to pick and choose different topics for different months. So for example, I think it's important to learn the history of 9/11. Now, I am in Canada, and 9/11 happened in the US. But the thing about Canada is there's Canadian history for sure, but a lot of American history and European history and world history all kind of combine. Sorry about that. All kind of combine to be related, because especially since I live in southern Canada, so I live very close. Like I can see the United States from, beside my house or from my back porch. So I definitely need to include that stuff. Anyways, 9/11 affected the world, not just the United States. So I plan to do that in September. I don't have any specific resources except a few free things I found online, but I don't have that all organized to show you or anything right now. In April, I want to do Titanic. That's the month that the Titanic sunk. The ship sunk in April. So I want to make sure that we do that. So I've been getting different resources. Sorry, I had to grab some books. So for Titanic, I found some books that I just got for free. So Exploring the Titanic by Robert D. Ballard. So it's not something we're going to just read, but it has some pictures in it that I'll show and some text that I'll see if there's anything important to include. And The Discovery of the Titanic, also by the same author, which again has lots of text, so most likely be looking at the pictures. So I have to flip through these at some point this summer and mark pages that I want to make sure that we include, or any text that I might want to read, pictures that I might want to show. It also has a bigger pull-out that shows the ship, and on this side of it shows what the inside looked like in the different parts. So we'll use those, but I'll also get stuff from the library for sure too. If it looks like I'm jumping around a lot, it's because I keep having to pause the video because of a cat or a dog or a child or something I forgot. So that's why it looks a little weird. Okay, so that's the Titanic. I talked about 9/11. My son is interested in learning about World War II and Hitler and who he was. So I already have an illustrated history of Canada's wars that I got from Scholastic for review. So it has all kinds of pictures and text. And even maps. And this is about, let me see here, I know it's the Boer War, I'm not sure if that's how you say it, the Great War, the rise of fascism, the world at war, the Cold War, Korea, peacekeeping, the Gulf War, peace enforcement, and the Age of Terror. So it has more than just World War II in it. We will also be talking about something that's more close to us, the Underground Railroad. So if you're not Canadian, you might still know about this because it was through the U.S. to Canada. That's where the black slaves were smuggled to Canada to get away from slavery. But the Underground Railroad came out right where we live, so that's really important for me to include. So I have 2 books that I got for free, and I'm going to read them this summer and find out either if they're both completely different or which one is better that we'll be using. So Get on Board, The Story of the Underground Railroad, or Runaway to Freedom, Story of the Underground Railway. They're both designed for use with kids, so we'll see. I also want to include something about the 15 to 1700s, and the most thing I can think about there is the witch trials, and I think that would be something very interesting to learn about. I do have some resources, but I got to dig them out and find them. We'll talk about the witch trials. I also want to make sure we include local history. So I'm not showing you the books because I don't want to specify exactly where we live, although you could probably deduce it, but from what I said, but we have local books and we'll learn about local history, go on tours of local areas, and find out more about what's going on in our local area. I also like to just do the obvious Indigenous history in September because of the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. I always try to make sure we include Indigenous stuff, but we will definitely be doing more of it since we're focusing on history, Black history in February, and women's history in March. So I don't know what we're doing for those yet. Well, the Underground Railroad will be during Black history, but the rest of it I don't know what we're going to do, but I will definitely make sure to include something. And another thing I wanted to specify was that this is with my 2 younger ones, my rising grade 4 and grade 7. My high schooler is doing history in the 20th century this year. She's not taking a history course next year, but if she was in school, public school here, her English class this coming year, grade 11, would be a special Indigenous related English course. So we're going to do something similar. So we'll be reading not only, but lots of Indigenous literature and kind of just learning more about Indigenous culture while also studying like literature and doing grammar and things like that. So kind of like a joint thing. So that's all I have so far, but we just started researching and making lists. I want to look at what kind of history other months, like, how it's Black History Month in February, like maybe there's Asian History or Hispanic History Month that I don't know about. Maybe we'll include something of that. I think we'll just do like a roundabout thing, and then when my son is in high school, I can do more in-depth history courses with him, especially since he's more interested in history. and then go back to like ancient history with my youngest one who hasn't learned that yet. So although I don't buy a curriculum, I'm interested in any books that you have. Oh, I forgot to mention 3 books, and then you can let me know in the comments if you have something that you recommend. When we learn about the Holocaust, I have I Am a Star, Child of the Holocaust. These are all books that well, except for one, or two, these are all books that I get for free and I just amass for when I need them. One Girl's True Story of Survival and Hope. It's a scholastic book. Says, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but her childhood was as happy and peaceful as that of any other German child until 1942. By then, the Nazis were in power, and because her family was Jewish, she and her parents were sent to a concentration camp in Czechoslovakia. The Auerbachers defied death for 3 years and were finally freed in 1945. In her own words, the girl tells her family's harrowing story and how they carried with them after the strength and courage of will that allowed them to survive. So we're going to read probably this as a read aloud. We're also going to do as a book study together, Number the Stars. My high schooler is currently reading this right now because she's doing modern history in the 20th century. But it's perfect for preteen age too, so we're going to study this together. So I have some free and cheap resources that I found online that we're going to use to study the book. And my rising grade 7 is going to study this one on his own. Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. Again, my high schooler just did this year, but it's just fine for that age too. So this is about life when you're Black in the 30s and how that was. So when we talk about anything, we'll study that book. But yeah, if you have any book suggestions, I love getting books from the library. Just grabbing a whole bunch of different things, even if we don't use them all. Read aloud ideas, that would be good, but are not too bad for my grade 4. Book studies that they can study together or separate, and also resource books like the Canada's Wars and the Titanic books and stuff like that. Especially for the witch trials and Canadian Indigenous history, recommendations would be awesome. Or if you have another subtopic suggestion. And if you feel like being supportive and leaving a comment, but you don't know what to say, tell me, what do you drink? What fuels your homeschool, mom, dad, grandma life? For me, it's ice caps. And I recommend them if you have a Tim Hortons nearby. All right, so just a reminder that when you're done this, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't so you can see more content. We're talking more about what we're going to do for the next year. And then make sure you check out the playlist below so that you can check out the other videos and see what they have to do, what they have to say about what their history curriculum is going to be this coming year. I think that was it. So thank you and goodbye.